Hi guys, welcome to my new video. And this video I'm going to be talking about how to use Captureone, everything about Captureone. Captureone is a photo editing software. But for me personally, I use it to process my raw files before I move to Photoshop for proper editing. So in this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about Captureone, at least Captureone Pro 20. Alright, so let's get started. So for Captureone, when you want to create a new collection of photos, what I recommend is you go to File, you go to New Session. So there's Session, there's Catalog. So I prefer Session because it's very easy to sort out and all that. So New Session. So let's just say retouching video. Okay, retouching video, and I'll press. You can see location, so just ensure you know the location where it's saving to, and then create capture folder, select folder and all that, and then I want it to open in a new window, so I'm going to click OK. So the moment I click OK, it's going to open in a new window. You can see there's no image at all in this session I've created. You can see the name above here, retouching video. So now if I want to import pictures into this session, I'll come to import. Alright, then I'll come to import from. You see this source, I'll come to source. I'll choose the folder where my pictures are. So let me go select a location where I have some pictures I want to use. So my pictures are here, but they're not shown right now. I'm supposed to select the folder. So when I click select folder, those pictures inside there are going to show. So you can see them. These are the pictures in that particular folder. Alright, so these are the pictures in that particular folder. So most times when people open that folder, they'll be looking for the pictures there. No, make sure you select folder and come back to Captureone and show you the pictures in that folder. So I can decide to import all, or I can select the ones I want. So make sure your import to is on the destination folder, which is capture folder. Alright, so every other thing can stay at default. So I'm going to select a few that I want to send to I want to import. So I'm just going to come to this place, maybe to this point, and then hold down control, just make a few clicks. So these are the ones I want to select, I want to import. So I can just click on import images, and automatically they are going to copy to this particular session. So on the side you are seeing you'll be seeing the film strip of all the images in this section, while here we display a bigger preview of whatever image you select. So I select this, it's displaying here. If I select this, it's displaying here. Alright, so I just want you to take note of that. So let me just show you other things around. So that is creating a new session and importing pictures. Alright, so there are different tabs in Captureone. The first tab we have is the library tab. So this library tab has the collection of your photos, the source where you are viewing your photos from. For example, you see this section folder, I am selecting capture folder, that's why these images are showing. Alright, the moment I click on select folder, because I have nothing there, it's going to tell me no image selected, no image in the collection. Alright, if I click on output location, no image is there. If I click on trash, no image is there, because I imported to the capture folder, so the images are here. But just in case I don't want to use the ones in the capture folder, I want pictures inside my laptop, inside my system, somewhere inside my PC, I can just come to these system folders and then go select the area where I have those pictures, and they will automatically show. So I can come here now, come to pictures, and everything in pictures are going to show. You can see them. Everything in pictures are going to show. Alright, that's using the system folders. but I prefer to always create sections so that I will always have them sorted out. It's very easy for me to, you know, locate them rather than copying them to a place in my laptop and viewing them from the Captureone. I don't really like this method. Alright, so I'll go back to my capture folder. So there's something else here called filter. So filter, what I use filter for is to separate my images. Alright, so let's assume, okay, now let's assume I want to call my images. I want to select the ones I work on, or maybe the client wants me to work on. So if I see the one that they like, the one I like, I can just choose between 1 to 5. So the moment I click on 5, it will give it a 5-star rating. So if I see a picture and I click 5, it will give it a 5-star rating. Alright, so I want you to know that. So the moment it has that 5-star rating, when you come to these filters, you can click on the 5 stars and you see those images that you gave 5-star rating. So this is how to separate your images from the entire collection. Alright, so if you want your images to if you want them to you want to select some particular sets that you want to work on, you can easily separate them like this. Alright, so there are also color tags that you can use, but the star ratings are very easy and it's very fast for me. But for the color tags, you need to be using the mathematical signs, plus, minus, multiply, divide, and all that. That's what gives you this. So let's work with this. So let's assume if I want to remove, I don't like this one anymore, I want to take it back to, you know, to the general collection, I can just click on 0 on my keyboard and it will disappear to go and join the collection where they have no star rating. Right, if I choose 1, it will enter 1 star. If I choose 2, it will enter 2 star. If I choose 3, so that's how it works. All right, so if I don't want it to, you know, to be limited to the star rating, I can click on this and it will show me all the pictures in the collection. All right, so take note of that. So the next tab we have is the capture tab. In the capture tab, if you connect your camera to your laptop, it will automatically display your camera and you can adjust the setting from this place. All right, at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you reasons why I prefer Captureone to Lightroom. I'm going to tell you those reasons, and you know, I'm going to tell you that after this video. After, you know, telling you about Captureone, I'll just tell you the reasons why I prefer Captureone to Lightroom. So when you connect your camera to your laptop, when Captureone is open, it will show you the camera here. All right, it's going to show you these are the camera settings. You can adjust them, you can change the aperture, change shutter speed, you can change the white balance, you can adjust, you can change it from shooting RAW to shooting JPEG. You can do all of that here. And there's also a button, capture, this shutter button. So if you mount your camera on the tripod, you can sit down with your laptop and capture your images from this place. All right, and if you want to see what your camera is seeing, the viewfinder, you can come to view and you can come to window and click on live view. When you click on live view, it will start showing you whatever your camera is seeing, and you can easily capture the images from this place. All right, so I use this whenever I'm doing product shoots, and I already marked my my camera to a tripod. I'll just sit down and, you know, capture from here. So I'll tell somebody that change the product, put another product, and I'll capture from here. If there's anything I need to do, I can just do all that. I can crop here, I can start editing the moment I capture. So this is what the capture folder is made for. So even if you don't turn, if you not open it, you can also tether, so it doesn't really affect. It's just for you to control the settings in your camera in case you don't want to do it by yourself. You can just do it from your laptop. All right, so the next tab we have is the lens tab. Now this lens tab contains, you know, the functions where you can correct your lens distortion and chromatic aberration. So just in case you shoot with a very wide angle, maybe 24 mm, and you shoot a portrait headshot with 24 mm, you're going to have distortion. The body ratio is not going to be equal. It's going to you know, some parts of the body are going to be bigger than some other parts. Obviously, the part closest to the camera will always appear bigger. In order for you to correct such distortion, you will need this tab, this lens correction tab, and you can correct chromatic aberration. Chromatic aberration, when you shoot, you know, at a very wide aperture outdoor, and you see green or pop magenta around the edges where they're supposed to be blur, like where between where the subject and the background, that is what we call chromatic aberration. All right, you can correct that here. You can correct distortion here. So if you want to avoid chromatic aberration, use a good lens, a lens with good glass, and then don't shoot too wide. If you shoot at a very wide aperture, you know, you're going to have chromatic aberration depending on the lighting condition and some other things. Then if you want to avoid having lens distortion problem, then shoot with good lenses. So when you want to, like, good focal length, when you want to shoot a portrait like this, it's good to use, you know, 70 and above. 50 can still do it, but you know, 70 and above will do the job. All right, then if you want to shoot something very close, let's say like a very tight close-up shot like this, then I would advise you shoot with, you know, 85, 100 millimeter, 135, 200 millimeter. They will give you a very good, you know, shots like this. As what I recommend, if you don't have so many lenses, then shoot, if you want to shoot headshot like this, if you have a 50mm, shoot like this, then come to post and crop it, because the moment you go too close to the subject, you are going to have that lens distortion that you have to correct when you get here. So that's what I want you to know. So let's move on to the next. The next is the color tab. In the color tab, we adjust the colors. All right, the colors of your image. All right, you can adjust individual colors. You can, you know, do a lot of things. All right, so we're going to talk more about color tab when we come back. All right, so we'll have the exposure tab. On the exposure tab, you know, it talks about the exposure, the brightness, the contrast. You can adjust all that under the exposure tab. All right, then the next one we have is the detail tab. In the detail tab, you can add sharpness, you can reduce noise, you can add grain and all that to your image, just like you do in, you know, Lightroom and in Camera Raw. So the next tab is the presets. This is where you apply presets to your images. All right, there are many ways of applying presets though, but this is just one of the ways. All right, if you have your own personal presets, this is where they show up. Then if you know you want to use the preset given to you by Captureone, this is where they show up. All right, so you can just click on any of them. So if I click on this Ncourage TY, for example, automatically you can see the effect. You can see the effect already. All right, so you can just click again to, you know, untick that. So let's proceed. So the next tab is the metadata tab. The metadata tab. So the next one is the metadata tab. The metadata tab, you have the information of the image. So if the file name, the camera, you know, if you set your camera to have, you know, your personal information as well, it will have the creator, you know, the title, the address, you know, and all that, your email address, your website. So you know, you can set that from your camera. So you can do that here. You can get all those informations that you want in this place. All right, those informations about your your images. All right, so the next tab is what we call the process tab. In the process tab, this part, you can do bulk processing. All right, bulk processing. So for example, you want to when you are processing, you can choose the different formats you want to process. Okay, let me just show you guys this. All right, because a lot of people ask me if you can edit wedding pictures with Captureone. Yes, you can. All right, so after doing all your adjustments in Captureone, like all the basic adjustments, you can process batch processing with this place. All right, so let's assume I want to process JPEG. If I want to process JPEG, that is for web or any other size, I can select them here. All right, I can uncheck this and select, let's say, JPEG sRGB, and check this. So when I check JPEG sRGB, I can decide the quality I want, I can decide the resolution I want, I can decide the scale if I want to reduce the size or so. All right, then I can also decide the location I want this to process to. I can decide if I want to do any other additional adjustment. Then metadata that I want to follow the images. Then I can decide to add watermark. Let's assume I want to add watermark. I can add the text if I want my name on it. You can see it. If I want my name on it, or if I want to put an image instead. So if I have a PNG, so this is a logo for one of my clients. Hold on, this is a logo for one of my clients. You can see it. All right, I can decide to increase the scale if I want to. You can see I can position it anywhere I want. So I want it here, if I want it here, I want it here. So the moment I put it anywhere, let's assume I put it here, for all the images it's going to be there. All right, so just take note. So you can put it in a position where you can change. If you change it for one, it changes for all. All right, so if you change it for one, it changes for all. So just put it in a position that best fits all the images, and then the moment I'm done, I will just select all the pictures I want to process, and I will click on process. When I click process, it will automatically process it to the output location I selected. All right, so this is how I add watermark to my images for batch processing. And then when we continue now, I'm going to show you how I copy adjustments and I paste it on other images. So I'm going to show you that. So just take note. All right, so I'm just going to go back to this. All right, so let's go to the color tab. All right, so now before I show you things in the color tab, I just want to show you things up here. All right, so first thing I want to show you, this is imports. All right, there's what we used earlier on when we wanted to import pictures, and then this is export, in case you want to export your images. The moment you click export, you can select the format you want, you can select where you want the destination to be and the scale you want and all that, quality, and export it. All right, so this is capture. When your camera is connected, you can click on this and to capture your image automatically. Then this is reset. If you have done an adjustment to an image and you are not happy with the adjustment, you can just reset it. All right, so if you go some steps and you want to go back, you can go back each step with this undo. Undo goes back each step, and redo goes forward. And the way it is, I don't know, I've not really got to the end of the undo, so I don't know how many undo you can do, but it can go back like up to 20 step back. So just in case you want to undo 20 steps, I know it is possible. Then if maybe you don't have time to adjust everything, you want Captureone to adjust for you, can click on auto adjust, and automatically to adjust it to its own style. All right, auto adjust. All right, so you can undo it, you can reset the image as well. So Then these are some tools. We have the arrow tool, we have the pan tool. So under the arrow tool, like if you can see move to select folder, you can see delete. So this is pan, move overlay, move watermark. So these are different tools: zoom in, zoom out, pick focus point, crop tool. This is straighten tool. This is keystroke vertical tool. This is brush tool. This is draw healing tool. This is erase tool. This is the color picker. This is apply adjustment tool and draw annotation tool. Alright, so those are the tools up here. Then this place is for before and after. Alright, so if maybe let's make an auto adjustment. If I want to see the image before and after, I can do it here. So there are two ways of doing before and after. There's one that is a split, where you can see this is the after, this is the before, after. You can see it like this. Or there's another way, which is the full view. If you click the full view, you can see before and after full view. So I like the split slider, split view slider, so that I'll be able to see it very well. Alright, so that's it. The grid, alright, I'll only turn this one on when I'm trying to check if my image is straight, or trying to check my composition if I like it. Alright, so you can also turn it off, you can turn it on. The warning, exposure warning, this one is to tell you if you are overexposed at any point. For example, these places that are red, it means that they are too bright, that you cannot see the informations there. They are too bright. It's exposure warning, trying to guide you so you don't make mistake. So, and they even cost it, because I've reset the image. See, no exposure warning. So this image was well exposed, but auto will always disappoint you. Alright, proofing, I don't know what this is, but I really don't use it. It just adds this too much sharpness to your image that I really don't understand yet. So the next is edit selected. Edit selected. So what this means, so let me quickly explain something. So let's make an auto adjustment to this now. So we have an auto adjustment to this. If I want to copy this same adjustment to another image, what I'll do is to come to this arrow that is facing up, and I click copy. When I come to the image I want, I will click on apply, and it will apply that same adjustment. Alright, so now this edit selected means if I select more than one picture, let's say I have 4 pictures selected here. The moment I click apply, it will apply on all of them because I click on edit selected. Alright, so let's undo this first. So the moment I uncheck edit selected, if I click on apply, it will only apply on the one that is highlighted and will not apply on the rest. So make sure edit selected is checked so that it will apply on all of them at the same time. So that's what that is. This is the zoom. If you want to zoom in the frame strip of the image collection, come on, okay, so you can zoom it in, you can zoom out. So I think this works. If you want to search, you're looking for a particular image, you can search. Then if you want to sort your images, maybe you want to sort them according to name, according to extension, according to date. You might be snapping different images, or maybe import different images, and you don't want the images are scattered. You want it to be sorted according to the names, or you want it to be sorted according to the dates, or according to the rating, or you want it to be sorted according to the camera lens. So it will select all the ones with a particular camera lens first, then another camera lens. So it just depends on whatever sorting you want to do to separate the image so that you can go in the order you want. Then this is the view, how you want to view your images. You want to view them with the image and the name, or you want to view them with image name in between, image name in between, or you want to view them as as this. So that's just for you to know. This is to zoom in when you select any image. For example, like we have this, I can zoom in and zoom out with this. I can, you know, use Control plus or use Control minus to zoom in and zoom out, right? So let me move to this tool. Okay, so I can zoom in and zoom out with this. I want you to know that as well. So this area is where your rating shows. All right, so you can also, if you don't want to be clicking on 1, 2 on your keyboard, you can just come and click on the number of stars you want. If you want 5 star, you click on the last one. If you want 1 star, you click on the first one. If you want 4 star, you click on the 4th star for the 4th point. If you don't if you want color tag, you can do this. If you don't want any star, you have to click on 0 on your keyboard to remove it. All right, so this is the file name. This is your lens, your focal length that you use in photographing the image. If it is 100 mm, the focal length you used. Then this is the f-stop, the aperture, this is the shutter speed, and this is the ISO. All right, so that's for this area. Okay, so this is, I think all these ones should be straightforward for a lot of us, so there's no need. But there's something I want to show you guys. Okay, I'll show you guys later. All right, so let's see. So these are straightforward. All right, so let's move on to the next. So let's come to this color tab. I want to show you what this color tab does, and the exposure tab, and then maybe 1 or 2 other things before we call it a day. So I believe you guys are learning a lot from this video, because the aim is that by the end of this video you would be able to use Captureone successfully. All right, so now let's proceed. When you come to the color tab, the first thing you have is the histogram. We know how histogram works. All right, histogram has the blacks, the shadow, the midtones, the highlights, and the whites. All right, so this is your histogram trying to show you the luminosity and the colors in your image. All right, so, and it's showing you the ISO, the shutter speed, and the aperture. However, this is the darkest part and this is the brightest part of your image. All right, so the next thing you have is layers. All right, layers, you know, you can stack layers. If you want to do an effect, you can increase, you can stack layers. So if you want to work non-destructively, you can create a new empty or fill layer by right clicking on this plus. You can create empty layer. When you create an empty layer, what it means is that the effects you are going to do will not be visible until you take the brush tool and paint. Wherever you paint on, that is the area that the effect will take place, and you can always rename the layer to anything you want. All right, so if you create a new fill layer instead, it will be visible everywhere. That any adjustment you make will affect the entire image. All right, so take note of that. So the reason why I use layers, I don't use this clone and heal layers. All right, so the reason why I use this adjustment layer, it's easy because when I overdo any of my adjustments, I can easily come to opacity and reduce it. So another great thing about this Captureone Pro 20 is that it has what we call luminosity mask. All right, so let's assume maybe I want this warmth. Okay, no, let me create a new layer to do that. I'll create a new feed layer and I add this Kelvin white balance. So now I only want this to be adjusted, you know, this adjustment, I only want it to adjust the bright part of the image. So I can click on Luma Range. When I click on Luma Range, you know that thing we have in Photoshop that you have blend if, that underlying layer, blend if. All right, so the moment I'm taking this away from this area, it means that effect should only show on dark areas and not show on the bright areas. But if I leave it on the bright area, if I take it away from this, it means don't show on the dark areas, only show on the bright areas. So I can adjust, you know, bright areas separately from dark areas. So this Luma Range is very helpful, you know, to do that. All right, so I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying. You know, there's something in Photoshop where when you double click on the image, it opens the blend if option. All right, it's a luminosity kind of thing, so you can do that with this. If you want the fall off to be small, to be wide, you know, if you want to add, so these are just some little adjustments. Right, you might not need it all the time, but I just want you to know that it is there just in case you want to do that. All right, so then you can create a new layer. For example, you can create a new feed layer and put my presets. I can come, I right click on it, I come to apply adjustment. I can come and apply any of my presets, and that preset will only be on that adjustment layer. If the preset is too much, I can reduce the opacity. In fact, I think I should start saying some things why I prefer Captureone to Lightroom. You can see that if I put a preset, I can put more than one preset, and if that preset is too much on my image, I can reduce the opacity. I can create a new layer, a new field layer. All right, come to this layer, come and apply another preset on top of that first one I created, and it will still work. It will still work, unlike Lightroom, where when you apply the the presets that you have, you cannot reduce the opacity and you cannot add more than one preset. But this, you can add as much preset that you have. All right, by creating more adjustment layers. This is the way I add presets. All right, so you can see how this image was before. Let me put the full view, before and after. So let me show you now. This is it without the first preset, and this is it without the second preset. You can see that the two presets are working together to give me this kind of result, which I think I like. I mean, just adjust one or two things. So I like it. I'm going to move on to another image so I can come and touch this one later. So so let's go ahead. So let me look for another fine image. Okay, so let's work with this. So let me reset this. So you understand what I'm saying about layers, all right? So you can create new layers. So, but just in case I create a layer and I want to discard the layer, I can just click on the minus and it will disappear. All right. So, but there's another thing with the layers. If I create a new empty layer, so like I told you, you can take your brush and paint. But if you brush now, you want to see where you are brushing on, you can press the M, which is mask, on your keyboard, and it will show you the areas you are brushing on. Meanwhile, the colors by default is red. So let me quickly show you how you can change it from red to green. You can come to edit, come to preference, and then come to appearance, and you see mask color. It will be on default red. So I changed it to green because red looks like, you know, the clothes, and a lot of people wear red. So I changed it to green because it is very easy for me to spot that this is my mask. So I prefer green. All right, so you can add more adjustment. Then there are still some other options. When you right click on your adjustment layer, you can, if you want to clean all the mask, you don't want anything to show, you can clear mask. Hold on, I think this thing is lagging. So let me delete that and come back again with another. All right, so if I make any adjustment like this, I can clear it by clicking on clear mask. All right, so let's make another adjustment. This is just make another mask. This is just a mask. It's not affecting the image, it's just a mask showing you the areas that you have brushed on. All right, so when you right click on this, I can decide to invert mask. If I don't want this to be selected, I can click on invert mask, and this area will not be selected, the other areas will be selected. So I use this when, for example, I made a mask of the background and adjusted the background, I can invert it. All right, so another thing we have here is fill mask. All right, so let me show you when to use fill mask. So let me clear this mask first. So I can just create a mask like this. If I want to fill this middle, I'll just click on fill mask. So what fill mask does is that it fills any space you have inside. So for example, let me create a new empty layer again. So let me make this kind of mask. So because I made a mask like this, even if I make several masks of different shape, it doesn't matter. The shape doesn't really matter. The moment I click on fill mask, it will fill all of them inside all of them. So it's one area to be able to brush very fast. So when I use it, let me show you. When I create a new adjustment layer, so if I want to select the background very fast, I have to just select the outer sketch of the background, so something more like this. So I'm just trying to be very fast. So I can come here and fill mask, and automatically it will fill it. So it's just for me to now add these other smaller areas to it. So it makes you fast when you are trying to make some selection. So let me clear the mask. Okay, let me show you another thing. There's another thing called feather rasterize. I don't use that. So feather mask is to feather the edges. If you want the edges to blend in more, you want the edges to be hard. So, but I really don't use this at all. So what I use is the refine mask. Refine mask helps you to, to select the edges of the, those areas that you did not select. What it does is that it uses the information, the information you it gathered from the areas you selected by yourself, and then select some other areas that you are yet to select around your subject. So you can increase that selection, you can reduce it, and all that. So most times when I don't brush to the edges, I just use the refine mask to help me complete the selection. Alright, so I use refine mask. So the next thing we'll have here is, okay, the Luma Range. We already talked about the Luma Range. So if I don't want this layer to affect the black parts of my image or the white parts, I can always do that. So the next thing is copy mask from. So yes, so let me create another layer now. Let me create another empty layer. Let's assume this layer now, I want to copy the mask I used in this other layer beneath. I can right click and click on copy mask from adjustment layer 1. The moment I click that, it's going to be like this. So let's assume I want to invert it. I just right click and invert. So this particular layer has the inverted one, has the selection of the subject, while this first one has the selection of the background. So you can copy mask from different layers. So another thing we'll have is save presets. If you want to save presets in Captureone, so I can let me create a new field layer. So it's always good that you create field layer if you want to use it as presets. Don't create an empty layer. Let it be a field layer that is affecting everywhere. Alright, so let me hide the mask by pressing M. So let's assume I make all this kind of adjustment, maybe this is what I wanted to achieve. This is my preset. I can come to this, right click, then click on save settings as style, and then I can choose the area I want to save. I want to save the exposure, the levels, if I want to save all these things, I can also come down and check which one I want to save, and the moment I click on save, it's going to show me where I should save to, and I can call it a name. Alright, so that's how to save presets in Captureone. Alright, so I can delete that. I forgot to tell you that, for example, if I apply presets from, let's assume I apply this preset, for example, and I don't want this preset to affect the hair, I can, even if I created a new field layer, I can come to the eraser tool, this last tool here, and erase it. So anywhere I erase from, the effect will not take place. So even if you created a new field layer, you can erase the effects from taking place in some areas. So let's assume I don't want the effect here, I can erase it. So this is before and after, you can see. Alright, so it's like that this max visibility. Alright, so if you want to, this mask visibility settings, and then I think cursor to settings, this is brush tool, this is your gradient. If you want to use gradient, so maybe I create a situation where let me create a new fill layer. Maybe a situation where my light, maybe I use two lights, this light did not fire, this side is dark. I can come to this gradient and just come from here. So if I want to see the mask of the gradient, I just press M. So it means this area will be affected more. So that area that is green, I can come to exposure. When I click on exposure, you can see that it will brighten this area more than this area. So that's gradient, if I want to use gradient. Alright, I use it when, for example, my key light worked but my fill light under did not work, and I want to expose, the legs. I can just use the gradient to just add some exposure. Alright, so and then we'll have radar, I think. Yeah, radar. So this one, the same thing, but like the same thing is the same way it is in Lightroom. That if I click on M now, so this one is the inverted radar. So the surrounding will be affected, the middle will be left out. Right, I think you can also invert it. To invert this one, you can just right click and invert mask. You can invert mask, so the middle is affected, outside is not affected. So if I work on any exposure, if I want to do this, let me invert it. So let's assume I want to do vignette, so I can easily do vignette with this, the middle, so you get the point. So that's it. What else? This is the healing tool. I don't use it. The clone, and then erase, I use the erase. So that is it. So another reason why I prefer Captureone to Photoshop, I've shown you the first reason, because I like the idea of layers. I like layers. And another thing with Lightroom, when you get to the end of your adjustment, like the end of your slider, you can't do anything more. But here, if I create a new fill layer and I do exposure, let me hide my mask, and I get to the end, if this is not enough, I can create another new fill layer and still continue. But Lightroom, when you get to the end, that's the end, except you create a brush and you paint on an area. But this one, I can do a general adjustment. So I like this because of that. So another reason why I like it is because of these base characteristics. For example, let's assume I'm a Canon shooter and I shoot Canon every time, but on this particular day my Canon was not available and I shot with someone's Nikon camera. But I'm already used to seeing colors in the Canon way. So if I want to change this image to look like a Canon image, I can come to the ICC profile, I'll click on show all, then I'll go and select the Canon camera I am used to. So let's assume I'm used to the Canon 5D Mark IV. So I'll click on 5D Mark IV. So this is how a 5D Mark IV will interpret this image at this white balance. So I can now adjust the white balance to the kind of white balance I will use on my 5D Mark IV, and that is it. Or maybe I'm used to Sony, I can come and click on Sony instead. So let's see where's Sony. So let's assume I'm a Sony shooter, I want it to look like a Sony camera shot. So let's assume I use the Sony a6400. So this is how Sony a6400 will look, so at this white balance. So I can adjust the white balance to my preferred white balance for my a6400 Sony. So I can change the color interpretation of my image to any camera of my choice. Alright, so that is one reason I like Captureone. Alright, so let's proceed with white balance. Is pretty straightforward, temperature and tint, that's pretty straightforward. Alright, so maybe you make an adjustment, you are not satisfied, you want to go back. If you don't want to go to this general reset button, you can reset each tool with this particular icon. You can just reset this particular tool, it will not touch any other thing, only this section. Alright, so you can do that. Then the exposure talks about the exposure, the brightness, contrast, saturation, and all that. You can reset them if you don't like them. Dynamic range, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks. So the levels, how levels work, the black slider, the white slider. So that's what this does. So clarity is to add that more detail if you want, but I really do not want at the moment. curves. If you like to use curves, you can use curve as well in Captureone. Then if you want vignettes, you can add vignettes with Captureone. Right, you can add vignette and all that. So that's it. All right, so that's all basically for the exposure tab. When you come to the color tab, histogram appears again. You have your layers as well, you have base characteristics as well. You can take these ones out if you don't want them showing here, since they show on this other exposure tab. You can remove them by right clicking on this. No, just click on this, and and you can also save as default. So if you choose a base characteristics and you want that base characteristics to save as default for all your cameras, maybe Canon, you can do that. So you can remove a tool that you don't want, so you can save particular settings you want for the base characteristics. You can remove this tool if you don't want it here. So, and then you can add a tool that is missing. If for example you find that oh, your white balance is not showing, you just right click on this empty space and add it. You can add, you can scroll down. Maybe if you do not see white balance, you can just scroll down and see white balance down. So any tool that is missing, you can always add it. So that's that. Color editor, if this is your red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, so you can adjust them. And this one is the general adjustment. You can change the master, the hue of everything, or the saturation of everything. So that's if you want to do that. Or you can come to the orange and adjust the orange separately from, you can do that. Then you can come to the advanced tab and take this color picker and select a particular area you want to adjust. I want to adjust here, I can adjust it individually. So I can come here, adjust this, adjust, just select different colors. So if I select like this one is black, it's going to affect that area, any color there. So I can reset it. Skin tones, you can select the skin tone and adjust the skin tone. You can see it, you can adjust the skin tone. So that's it. Color balance, you can come to the master and adjust the color balance of everything, or you can come to the three-way. Most times I come to the shadow, adjust the shadow separately from the midtones, from the highlight. So you can do all of that. You can come to the black and white, where you can enable, can change your image to black and white, and you can determine how bright or how dark some areas of your image is. You can come to the split toning and add a particular color to the highlight, add a particular color to the shadows. Depends on what you want. Then normalize, I really don't use this. So that's that for the color tab. Alright, so another reason why I prefer Captureone to Lightroom is that the moment I connect my camera, I can start snapping and it will be showing here. I don't need to make any other adjustment, no settings. Just connect my camera and automatically I can start snapping. It's so easy. I don't need to set anything, so I like that. So this is okay. So if you have different layers and maybe I want to work on this layer, if I don't want to select it here, I can come to this place and select it. Any layer I want to adjust, I want to work on, I can select them here. And if I want to create new layers, if I don't want to create here, I can come to this place and create new fill layer, new empty layer. So another thing I also like about this is when I select two images, it shows me a side-by-side view. Alright, a view where I can compare and adjust to make sure they are looking the same. So I don't know if Lightroom does that, but it's so easy. I don't need to set anything apart from these two things are here. So the moment I uncheck this first one, this one means only one image at a time. So even if I select 10, it will only show me one at a time. So but if I uncheck this and I check this, it's going to show me side-by-side view of the images. So that's just it. What else have I not talked about? I think I've talked about everything. This is the scroll wheel to go up and down. So
I've talked about everything. All these other ones I didn't go into them is because I really do not use them so much. So the ones I discussed about are the ones I use a lot and I feel you are going to use. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please do well to check my website www.learntoretouch.com. There are many content I'm putting out there that you can learn from. So thank you so much, and share this video with your friends and tell them about learntoretouch.com so that they can come get some other videos that would make them improve their retouching skill. So do have a wonderful retouching time.